Hello, everyone. Well, I'm excited to get into this second part or third part of prophet in distress. And have you ever wondered how to bring comfort to somebody that's in distress, or maybe how to just be present with somebody? Well, I love this question because we are going to see how God responds to Elijah when he is running away from Jezebel. And if you were with us last time, this is the story that we left off on. But before we get into that, I just want to let you guys know I'm Pastor Manny. This is a ministry we have here called Looking Up. And Sunday through Friday, Pastor Bob and I share a quick devotional thought for everyone in the morning to encourage you or to just give you some of the bread of life that we can get every single day. And with that being said, let's get into the story from last time. So we are at this place where Elijah is running away because Jezebel, Ahab, which is the king at the time, his wife sent him a message pretty much saying that, hey, what you did to my prophets, I'm going to do to you, but 2 times worse. And Elijah had just defeated all the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel, right? It's a big story in the Bible. It's one of the most powerful stories that we see in Scripture. And so Elijah is running away now, and he's running for his life. And he comes to this point where he stops in the wilderness, and he says this to God. He says, it says he came to a broom bush, sat down under it and prayed that he might die. He says this, "Take my life, I am no better than my ancestors." Then he lay down under the bush and fell asleep. And we left off here because one of the things I mentioned before is a lot of times and we don't really talk about mental health and these things in certain circles, especially in church sometimes, and we don't really provide a safe space for them for people to talk about it, or for even people to feel comfortable if they have something going on in their life, right? And so I love it because Scripture has a response to this, and this is actually not biblical when we don't allow space for people who are in distress, who have anxiety, or maybe who are having suicidal thoughts. This is not biblical when we don't provide a space for them. It is biblical to provide a space for them. It is biblical to talk about this stuff. Because here, check this out. This is what God says, or this is what God does. He lays down to sleep, and he says, "At once an angel touched him and said, 'Get up and eat.' He looked around, and there by his head was some bread baked over hot coals, and a jar of water. He ate and drank, then lay down again. The angel of the Lord came back a second time and touched him and said, 'Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you.' So he got up and ate and drank. Strengthened by the food, he traveled 40 days and 40 nights. Real quick, I just want to share something about this. First of all, when Elijah says that he wants to die, that he wants God to take his life, I love how Elijah is so honest. And I think it's very interesting how Elijah says, "God, I want you to take my life." And the reason why he didn't say, "I want to take my own life," is because Elijah knew that his life wasn't his to take. And so that's just something for us to think about when we are struggling with thoughts like this, maybe even suicidal thoughts at times, is our life is not ours to take. And so I love how God responds, because God doesn't really say anything. He provides comfort to him, right? And a lot of times what we hear people say, especially in Christian circles, is that people who take their lives, they're going to hell, right? They're not going to be saved. And for me, like, what I don't believe that. And here's 2 reasons why. For one is, I don't know the heart of that person, right? I don't know where that person is at when they did what they did. And the second thing is I'm not God. So I shouldn't put myself in the position of God to condemn and judge the person and say they're not going to go to heaven, or they're going to go to hell, right? Because when we do say stuff like that, that's what we're doing. We're putting ourselves in the place of God, So let's let God be God, and let's let God be judged. for me as a Christian, what I should do is, how can I pray for this family? How can I support this family that is mourning the loss of their loved one who took their life, right? And so going back to the story, God sends an angel to bring support to Elijah. Notice what God does. He feeds him and he gives him something to drink and he lets him rest, right? And so a lot of times when people are in distress, we want to give them Bible verses, right? We want to say, oh, let me pray for you. Or I say, maybe you haven't prayed hard enough. Maybe there's a certain sin that's going on in your life, right? Or just read the Bible more and you'll be okay. And we are not just spiritual beings, right? We are mental, we're physical, we're emotional, and we are spiritual, right? So we are comprised of all these things. And sometimes when we're in distress, sometimes we just need to take a nice walk in nature. All right. Sometimes we just need to get rest. Sometimes we need to eat and to clear our minds of everything that's happening. Right. So I love how God responds to Elijah. God comforts him through his physical needs. He gives him food and he gives him water and he lets him rest. All right. So that's something practical that we can take away from this. But we're going to come back next time, and I'm going to stop right there. This is such good stuff. This is what I love about Scripture, is that it's so practical, and God does amazing things that we wouldn't have thought maybe he would do. Right. So until we meet again, I hope this was a blessing to you. Please leave a comment section below if this is something that you enjoyed, or if this is or just maybe how it has helped you or how it's helped somebody else. All right. Take care. God bless, and have a wonderful, wonderful week.